So let's not waste the time. There were some technical glitches, so sorry for that. So this is our Python workshop organized by Academic Health Cell PSF, Progressive Students Forum Test. You all know that. And this is our first session. We'll be moving, going ahead with the two more sessions in the coming weekend. So this is for the T students, a skill development program that we are doing in our holidays in the semester break. uh, Python workshop. So we have a speaker here, like our resource person, Mr. Satyajit Ovelil. He's having an expert knowledge in data and machine learning, and having an experience in handling different kind of analytical problems. He's an expert in this field, so I hope you'll be able to learn from him. And he's also an alumni of our School of Habitat Studies, TIS Mumbai. And he was working with us for last year also. So I hope this will be a great time for all of us, having a new learning experience to all of us. So yeah. For the smooth conduct of the session, please be minded that please mute your audio yourself, and turn off your videos for the good connectivity. So you can ask your doubts when we are having doubt clearing sessions. Also, you can type on your doubts in the chat box. Also, you can answer that. So I hope you all were able to install the software in your laptops, or working with a good internet connectivity. So do not wasting more time. I'm handing over to you, sir. I'll actually
Okay.
welcome you for the session, and welcome
Hi.
everybody to the session. And we can start our session.
Okay. So I bet some of you all faced problems in installing it. This usually happens because you're not used to handling terminals. Okay. At least one guy put that up. The other guy who said he couldn't download it, I just didn't understand. What did you mean? So either when she makes a new WhatsApp group, put those messages there, or I would rather say make a Slack channel, and then every problem should have a different thread. I'll tell you how to do that. But right now, I'll get started with teaching you all a couple of things. For the first day, it's not going to be a data and machine learning oriented class. It's going to be just basics of Python, because some of you all are coming from backgrounds that are so varied and diverse that you actually haven't seen code ever in your life. So people who have seen code, I'd rather suggest skip all this and come for the second workshop or something like that. Okay. Anybody having any other issues, message me again here right now and put it on the public channel. Unless it's a very specific problem, message me privately. Right. I've sent a link. Is the link still there?
I'll share
The
it
link I
again.
sent.
I'll share it again. Some people are asking
Share that
for
again.
it. Yeah.
Share that again. Give me 2 minutes. Yeah, that link. Open it. Don't do anything. I'll tell you what to do. Very cold here. Okay, chat. Open that link. It's a collab link. Right. So you know how you used Google Docs, right? So this is something similar, but for code. I'm going to share my screen with you right now. And this is sort of going to bypass everything you've had to do in terms of installation. All right. Uh, Everybody who's had problems with installation, you can open that now. That will give you an idea of how the interface works. Later on, when you get free time, troubleshoot, install, get everything working right, and then do this, replicate the same thing you've done here on your PC without any internet connection, hopefully. you should be able to replicate it. This thing needs a internet connection to work, right? So the backend is provided by Google, right? So like Drive allows you to save files, Docs allows you to, or Google Sheets allows you to work on Excel files. This allows you to work with code. Right, I'm sharing my screen, and just a second. Yeah. Right, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir, we can see the screen.
Okay, so you should see something like this, right? This is the entire interface. I'll later be asking you to make like groups and have different copies of a notebook so that you can work on one project together. It allows you to comment and share if you check the top right corner, right? And on the left, I'll tell you what to do. So the first thing is I want you to save a copy in Drive and open that. Or you can open it in playground mode. See that? The second part. Open in playground mode. That will sort of allow you to work with it without editing it permanently. All right. Click on that and tell me what happens. Is there a problem in viewing this? No problem. All right. You should get something like this. This notebook is in a playground mode. Changes will not be saved. A better option would be to save it in your Drive, a copy of that, which you can do by clicking here. See this, save copy and Drive. You can do that. It'll end up in your Google Drive like all other files end up. You can go to there, open your Drive, and then open this exact same file. It'll be saved as some other name. So if it's Python 101, I think I've shared a copy of Python 101. So the moment you say save a copy, it gets the copy part gets attached to it, to the name. So you can open that. Any problems so far? Subham, you unmuted. Okay, I thought you had a problem. Okay, so once you have done that, couple of things, I'll just introduce you to the interface, right? So if you are usually coding, you work with an IDE or a code editor. Okay, so IDE is an integrated development environment. Okay, so this is sort of similar, right? See the part on the right, there's something called connect. If you click on it, it says allocating. So what Google does, it provides you with all that, around 13 GB, 12.72 GB of RAM, disk space of 107 GB. It'll be different for everyone because it's based on availability. So it fluctuates a little bit, but you'll never go below this. It'll never drop down to like say 4 or 6 GB, right? And yeah. So if anybody has a very poor laptop and they can't, you know, make their projects work on that laptop, you can use this. Additionally, because it's connected to Google Drive, you can just upload your files there and work from there, no matter the size, right? So any problems so far? You pressed on connect. This is done. Are you getting this?
Sir, there's one problem mentioned in the chat. Shoma says
Okay, hold
that
on.
she's unable to copy notebook.
Unable to copy.
It's in the
Okay.
public chat.
Just a second. Who else is unable to copy? Okay. 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 Can you open it in playground mode? Everybody else is also getting this unable to copy thing. Because what I have done is shared the link. Hold on. See, it's like Google Docs. You normally share this without any problem. Anyone on the internet can, with this link, can view. Okay. I'm changing it to editor. Okay. Right. Permission updated. Right. This is not the notebook I shared. Hold on. So the one I shared was something else. Where is it? Ah, wrong account. Right. Still sharing my screen, right? So you can see, right? See, the notebooks end up like this every time you save them to your drive, just like normal docs or text or whatever you want to save. So I'm going to open this. Right, copy of whatever. I'm sharing the link again. Change to anyone in the link. Right, editor, copy link. Okay, sharing another link. All right, open this. Try and
Sir, sir. So the people who could copy it to Drive need not open this link, right? The new one. Sorry, sir, you're on mute.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, go on.
So I was asking whether I could copy the file to Drive, my Drive.
Yeah.
So we need not use the new link, right?
Not necessarily. I'm just checking if the original link I sent had the editing rights messed up. So if you don't have the editing rights, you won't be able to copy. Like someone said, they weren't able to copy. I don't know who wasn't. See, it says unable to copy notebook,
Okay.
right?
So I
So
copy it.
that happens when the editing rights are not there. In Google Docs also, you can give rights, right? Editing rights, commenting rights. So you can restrict the access of people. So I shared a new link where the editing right is enabled. So anybody with the link will be able to edit it, which I suggest you don't because everybody is going to use it. If you change something, then yeah.
Hi,
Hi,
can you hear
Sam.
me?
Yeah.
Uh, so I opened the link. I
Yeah.
tried to open it in Playground mode, and then I tried to copy it to Drive. So when I'm trying to copy it to Drive, it is not happening. It is saying unable to copy notebook.
Okay. The second link also, you getting the same problem?
Yeah, in the second link, yes. In the first link, I was not getting the option of the playground thing.
Okay. So this was
I
blacked
have the
out, yeah?
option in the second link, but
This was blacked
yes,
out, I'm
yes,
assuming. Okay. So,
yes, in the previous one.
okay. And the second one?
Second one, I have this option, so I did it, and then I went to this copy to drive, and then it says unable to copy notebook. There was an error loading this notebook. Ensure that the file is accessible and try again.
Okay. That's weird. That's try it again. Because see, this is not, this is highlighted here. And the editing rights are enabled, so I don't see what the problem is.
Okay,
It
okay.
shouldn't be any problem. So just try
I
it again. If
understood it
there is a
completely well.
problem,
You please
just
continue.
no. If there's a problem,
Yes, yes.
open it in playground mode, whatever gets it working. See, the end result is, see this part on the right, top right. This should happen. This should connect,
Yes, yes.
right? If you get that to work,
Okay,
it's
okay.
okay, right? Any other
Okay,
problems
okay.
we can deal
I'll
with
try
later.
doing that, and
Everybody
yeah,
else,
yeah. Okay,
anybody
okay.
else
I'll
having the
try
same
doing that.
problem, just message in the chats again.
Hi. Sorry, I think
Copying it to my
it is a
GitHub.
problem with my drive space.
Okay, somebody tried it copying. You don't have drive space, yeah?
Yeah. I think that's the problem.
Are you sure? You
Yes.
used up 15 GB of your. Okay, fine. Okay. I could copy the notebook in both versions. Interesting. Uh, Hitesh tried to copy it to his GitHub and it's not happening. Okay. All right. This is weird. Some people are getting it to work, some people are not. The link is the same, by the way. Maybe too many people, and Google is not equipped to handle it. I don't know. So, what you can also do is just save it locally. Is that option available for you? Can you
Checking.
save? Is this available to you?
Yes, yes.
Save it. It will save on your PC somewhere. Here, I'll show you. Okay.
Okay,
There
it
you
says
go.
the
Save
notebook is in
field. Okay,
playground mode,
interesting.
so changes will not be saved unless you make a copy of the notebook.
That's okay. That notebook has been changed outside of this session because I've given everybody the editing rights.
Okay.
Saved successfully. Right. Okay. This is a different save. Hold on. Do this. Sorry.
No, this is not
That is a
working
save
either.
of save. Like it saves to the cloud. Do this. Download IPy notebook. Sorry, forgot. That is what you should get. Okay. Just save it anywhere. If you see, I'm just saving it to my desktop. Get saved to my desktop. You can still see my screen, right? So you see that copy of IPy notebook, right? Then what you should be doing
Yes.
ideally is going to your collab, wherever that may be, right? Like this. Hold on. You can just Google collab, right? I'm starting from scratch right now. I have a copy of the notebook saved somewhere else. Okay. I did download IPy notebook. For people who can't save it directly from here, I'm just asking you to do that. Download the IPy notebook. That should be available, right? And post that. If you go and open your collab interface, you should be able to upload the notebook separately, right? So you should get something like this. Choose file. I recently have this. I upload it, right? So far so good. Do you want me to
I'm
repeat
sorry.
it?
Which file do you choose to upload?
The one, sorry, okay. So my browser allows me to access recently downloaded files directly like that. But
Yeah.
you'll an interface will pop up, like usually you use to upload something or download something. Whichever
Yeah.
file you saved right now, the copy of Python 101,
Yes.
wherever you saved, open it and save it. Upload it, sorry. Right, see, upload notebook. There you go. Sorry, I'll just choose file and this part, whichever, wherever this file got saved, right? So for me, it's saved on the desktop. If I double click it, it'll open, right? I'm not going to do that because it's already there, and I'll end up creating multiple copies. Okay, can anybody use this route?
Yes, I got this.
Okay, now it's opening.
Yeah.
Now,
Yes.
do you have the option to edit it?
How do I check it?
Just first cell where it says basics, double click on that and just type anything you want.
Yes, yes, yes.
Perfect. Okay,
Thank
so
you.
okay, anybody who can't save it directly, like I see that people can't even save it to their GitHub profile or anywhere. What I want you to do is save the copy on your local drive and then upload it to your collab session, right? This is the same, this is something similar you'd follow if you had Google Docs. So yeah, do I need to repeat this? Somebody unmute and say, because I can't. Yeah. Oh, too many files. Right, where am I? I'm going to use this, okay, the original one, which I haven't shared with anyone. It's open in playground mode. The moment it's open in playground mode, things don't get saved. If you come out of it, everything will be the way you started. So, right, on the top right, you should have something like this. Anybody facing problems doing that? Hitesh, are you still having problems with the GitHub part? Because
No,
I
no,
need to check that separately. That's
it's done. It's
interesting because
done.
nobody else has probably tried it. Not everyone will have a GitHub profile configured properly. So I'll keep tabs on that separately. Just
Sure.
remind
Yeah.
me to check on that.
Sure. Definitely.
Yeah. Okay, everybody has everything working finally or not? Okay, I'm assuming everybody has everything working. If they still don't, then I suggest you follow along as I go through whatever I'm doing. Okay, because it's already 11:49 and I was supposed to be there from 11 to what, 12:30? What was the time? So we'll probably have to extend a bit, right? Fine. Let's just, okay. Okay. So this is the RAM you have, disk you have. There are a couple of other options which I'll tell you which are not necessary for coding right now, right? Google provides you code snippets. So this is something very interesting. You just type what you want to do, right? And it provides you literally the code snippet. Like you copy it, paste it here, and get things to work. You just tweak whatever is there for your custom, your case, right? So you want to say capture camera capture, and then it just gives you the code required to do that. Okay. Maybe in playground mode, it might not allow you to click on things. Is that happening? Yeah, no. See, if I click on it, I just have to click here, right? Entire code got pushed to the right. Okay, I'm going to delete this because I don't need it. Okay, couple of things that you need to understand about this notebook once you connect, right? There are two different kinds of cells here. Okay, this is the code. This is not code. Okay, this is not code. This is your normal text. You can put whatever you want here. You can write an entire paragraph. You can write a Word document here, copy paste it. Okay, so this is something called it's a text block. Usually what you do is you use markdown. Okay, markdown is a style of text, writing text. You can Google it separately, open a tab, check what markdown means. Markdown ka style hai. The way you format text, everything. You can put links, you can put images, and it's just easier, much like almost, it's very simple. You can do the same things you do in HTML there. That aside, let's get started with the actual code part. Okay, see, this cannot save changes. That's happening because you are in playground mode. If you get rid of that, you'll be able to save. Okay, so in Python, sorry about that, can you hear that? Okay, this is a function. Okay, we are going to dive into that, but let me just start with this. Every coding language, the first class starts with that. Okay, you get to write hello world. So you, to run that, right, this is the input, this is the input, this is the output. Something very interesting about notebooks is that it lets you code and then see the output right there and then. Right? That is not the case in a lot of IDEs. What happens is you write the code, you run it, then you get the output, right? Modern IDEs sort of allow you to run chunks, or there's something called REPL. It's sort of a loop. Okay, it reads, executes, prints. Okay, so that's REPL. So you basically have a way to debug. But Jupyter, this particular way of writing code was specifically meant for data scientists. Okay, because they had to focus on the output and, well, basically chunks that they could do separately, right? So this became a very interesting thing to work with. So a function usually, right, even in math, you have something like this, right? People can still see my screen, right? No problem, right?
Yes, sir, your screen is visible.
Okay, so in maths you have something like this, right? Fx is equal to y. Something goes in and the y is what you get, the output, right? So this is a function. If you notice, it's something similar. Print, whatever goes inside is what you're getting, and what you have to make sure is that it's in quotes, either single or double. Okay, what goes inside the X part is called an argument. Okay, this is just a the basic of how a function works. Every other language will have a different way of writing a function. Okay, you can go and look them up, but we are not going to go into functions right now. I just want you to know this is how it looks. Get that working. What you need to do to execute this cell is either hit the play button, see the play button here, or you can just put the cursor there and hit shift enter. Okay, you'll get something like that. That's your output. Shift enter. Okay, shift enter to save your time. There are other shortcuts also. Again, open a separate tab and Google notebook shortcuts. Okay, there's an entire list of shortcuts you can go through to add cells above. This thing is called a cell. So enough about the interface. I'm going to go through the notebook. Okay, there is a way to add comments also. I know there is this text field cell separately available to you, but this is how you add comments in the function. Okay, in between the function, in between your code, this is how you do it. There's a hash. Put a hash, whatever comes in front of it in that line is a comment. It is not executed as code, even though it's in the code cell, right? I'm executing this, no output, because that everything that comes after the hash is treated as a comment. Everybody with me so far? Okay, so we're going to start with what how you define, how you assign variables, or technically it's called an identifier. So an identifier is technically a name you give to your function or a class, or you know uh, uh, to get started to well work with it. So in programming, usually what you have is there's this concept of object oriented programming. So to make your life easier, you deal with everything as an object. An object meaning, how do I put it? It's like an entity, okay? And that entity has properties, or it can do things. So that is the basic philosophy. Again, you can go and check object oriented programming. It's a whole different, it's going to take a lot of time. It's worthy of having another class all by itself. We're not going to go into it, okay? But you can look it up. You'll find videos on YouTube also. At the end of the session, or probably in a few minutes, I'll share a lot of video links with you, so that you can save your time, not go and read. Just watch those YouTube videos and understand what's happening. Okay. So this is how you do write a variable in Python. Okay. The name of the variable, and this is the content of the variable, right? What happens is, in all programming languages, you have something called operators. Okay. See that in the middle, equal to sign is not an equal to sign. It's called an assignment operator. So the best way to think about this is to think of variables is, imagine an open container, right? And that container is the variable. Whatever you put in it, it gets assigned. Okay. It's an open box. That open box is called currently my name. Okay. And that my name has something. That something is John Doe. Currently, this whatever is there in the quotes, John Doe, it's it's a string. We'll get into data types later on, but it is a kind of data. Okay. It is a kind of data type right now. Again, the variable names, the whatever class names, function names, they're case sensitive. So if you write my name and the N is capital, that is a different thing. Those two things are not similar. Okay. You can try and replace whatever is there in the quotes with whatever you want. And if you notice, see the first variable, it's just in single quotes, and the second one is in double quotes. Not gonna matter. The difference is not there. There's no difference between the quotes, double quotes or single quotes. As long as it's in the quotes, it's valid. Now, what you have to understand is, sometimes you have strings where quotes are part of it, right? Something like an apostrophe will be there. Okay, apostrophe s. So that is also a quote, right? So that should not be taken as a string ka end. So if you're using single quotes and inside there is another single quote, that's a problem. So double quotes and then whatever you want to put in. And there are ways to add special characters also. Again, you need to see how to work with strings later on. You will make problems. It's okay. You'll make a lot of problems with special characters, and that's okay. Everybody does that. Just Google it separately and solve your problems, because that's the way to do it. No matter how much you learn, you're going to face problems. In fact, I'll show you here. If you make a mistake here, right, Google Colab itself gives you a link to sort of search the problem on Stack Overflow. I'll tell you what Stack Overflow is in a minute. If you don't know, I'm assuming at least some of you know what Stack Overflow is, because I bet you have Googled it for research questions, maths or stats or whatever you're doing right now. Right. Special symbols are not allowed. You can't use that in your variables. Exclamation mark, at, all that. You can't do that. There are different cases. Okay. You can use camel case. You can use snake case. Snake case is what I've used here. See this part. You can use caps every word of the variable, like last name. L and N will be capital. You don't need to put this underscore. Underscore can come before, after, not a problem. That is not going to change. That is not going to stop the variable assignment or throw up an error. What else? Right. See this, you can also assign like this. So first name is John, last name is Smith. Okay, these are two separate variables and they get assigned in the same line. You just had a comma, right? It's the order is respected. So 1, 2, 1, 2. First name relates to John, last name relates to Smith. You can add something else also. Okay. Right. So if So Python allows you to, it has a help documentation within whatever in the programming, the main scripts, the source of the Python files, right? Wherever the root is, where root is the basic, the how do I put it? Root is where everything is stored. Okay, it's the base. It's if you check your Android phone also, it will have something called root, right? That's the source of the tree of the file structure, right? For in this case, the root is wherever your Python installation is. Okay, everybody will. So moving forward, if you get your Jupyter to work, if you get Conda to work, you'll be making separate environments for each project, right? That is the way to go about it, and you need to understand how to work with environments, because if you don't, it's going to create a massive problem for you, because every time you install something new, you go to tweak it, right? And it has dependency issues, that environment is going to screw up, and you're going to uh, be wishing that you just uninstalled everything, and that's bad. Okay, so we are going to understand how to work with environments. Again, I'll send you links, that sort of video links which allow you to follow through, right? If you do this help keywords, if you run that code, you'll get all the keywords that you can't use as variables. False obviously means false. Okay, true, there are other variables. None means none. Okay, it's a value. It's not zero. It's nothing. It's void, null and void. So there are others also. You can Google them and find out what's what. If else, I think you have come across this. So yeah, you want to use it as a calculator, please go ahead and type whatever you want. The operators are the same. Okay, plus minus, this is multiplication. Okay, if you have a numpad, people laptops with numpads should be familiar with this. Side mein hi hoga. If not, it will be somewhere on your number whatever. Okay, so this is something called a modulus. Okay, which you probably haven't used in a calculator. It is there. What it does is it will divide the number and then spit out the remainder. Okay, that's what it does. Remember this, you might need it, maybe. So in Python, the raised to sign is like this. It's two stars, it's two multiplication signs clubbed together. Okay, this is not multiplication, this is raised to. So 8 raised to 2. In Excel, I think you'll probably have that arrow, upward arrow, and then you write whatever your number is, and then you get exponentiation, right? So I'm going to run this, and you see the print part. This is an inbuilt function in Python. Okay, so whatever you put inside, remember I told you that quotes have to be there. Quotes have to be there in case it's a string. You can put a variable inside print statement and it will still give you the output if there is an output. Okay, so I run that, I get all this. So if you want to make calculations, this is how you go. And you can write something very big also. You don't need a print statement, okay, when it comes to notebooks, because whatever is there, the last part will get printed. Hold on, sorry about that. These are the operators. I haven't used floor division up there. Okay, you can try what floor division does. I think it'll be a good exercise. Right, everybody with me so far? Any problems in running the code cells? Okay, this is just to get you started. Okay, any problems, again put it in the chat. Okay, I'll go through them. Right, let's move on to data types. This is I know this is very basic, but you need to understand this. You have no idea how much problems it causes when they don't know this. Second sessions have been very weird for me because people come in expecting to work with something and they don't know the basics. So just start here. It's okay. Everybody starts here. So this is how you assign a variable, right? Everybody with me so far? We've already gone through variable assignment, right? So this fiver is a variable, and that value of that variable is 5. And 5 point is another variable. It has 5.1. So see this is an integer, right? So it's called an int in Python. In a lot of other languages also it will be called an int. You'll find different kinds of int also. Int 64 and all that. You can again Google why they're different. This is a float. It's basically a decimal. It's a fraction. If there's a decimal value, it's called a float. Okay. If decimal value is attached, it's a float. You can turn a float into an int. It's called typecasting. Let me show you how. Oh, okay. Okay, everybody doing the same thing, right? Shift enter to run it or play, but right. So now these two variables are assigned. They're there. Fiver is 5, 5 point is 5. So if let's say I don't want the point part of the 5 point, what I do is it should work. So that happened. This is called typecasting. A lot of programming languages have this, but it's a little bit more. It's dicier to do it. Typecasting is a bit different. It will be available as a function or something. Here I just wrap it around whatever I have. Like if I have an int, if I want to turn it into an int, I'll do that. Let's say I don't want an int. Okay, I want some other data type, which is a string. String is what you see, words. Okay, so let's say I don't want 5.1 as a number. Okay, I want it as a string, and you'll want this for a number of things. When you want to put it as actual text somewhere, and uh, you'll probably use this option. I will do it. Now I have a string. Okay, so again you can assign a variable to you can assign this to a variable, right? One more thing is that if you hover over a function, right, or uh, well, anything for that matter that's already there in your code, you've already defined it, you'll get something like this after you hover. You see that? That's something Colab provides and your IDE will provide. It lets you see the doc string. So here string is technically a function that lets you typecast, right? So it's actually telling you what it does. Create a new string object from the given object, blah, 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 blah. You can read that, right? Every function you write, if it has a code string or any inbuilt function you have, will have this. Okay, it's called a doc string. Okay, so doc string allows you to check what the function is doing. It will probably go up in its documentation. Anyway, they put it up online. Okay, talking about documentation, you should probably get used to reading at least parts of it, because it's an important skill to have. Every time you work with Python is a modular language. So every time you want to get something done, there'll be a separate module. If I don't know if you all have heard of pandas. Pandas is what we'll use to work with data. Basically Excel. I won't go into what it's called a data frame. I think if anybody has worked with R, in R also there's something called a data frame, right? It's an array, right, format which has a lot of values in there, and you work with that, right? So to pandas, that's where the das comes from. It's data frames, panel data frames. They sort of moved away from the panel part, but that's still there. So if you want to work with something specific, there's a module for it. If you want to work with numerical data, right, there's NumPy, like entire linear algebra, whatever functions are there in NumPy. Usually other programming languages will already have the linear algebra part inbuilt. Okay, but Python is something that comes with a separate module for that. And this is something very interesting about Python, that it's kind of slow. Okay, you'll hear this a lot, but it's true. Python is slow. So if you notice, some modules are optimized. What they do is they don't exactly execute everything in Python. So you'll have NumPy, which executes everything in C. Whatever it runs in C. Okay, it's not doing everything in Python. So you'll be working with these modules, and every time you come across a module and there is a function there you don't know how to use, or you use and you messed up, if you can't Google it, there'll be a doc string attached. Sorry about that. Yeah. So let's move on to another data type. Okay. This is something called a list. Okay. I've again assigned it to a variable called heights, and these are nums. Yeah, that was my little brother. Don't mind him. Right. So a list is, like, you can see a list. Okay. Different items. Okay. What happens is a list is a collection of objects, but it's not like a set. If anybody knows math, set is unique objects put into a basket, let's say. This, you can have duplicates, right? You can have 172, 172 twice, right? It's just a list. It's a list of items. Currently, it's a list of numbers. It can be a list of strings. Okay. It can be a list of strings and numbers. It can be something like this, this, this. Okay. So now this is still valid. Okay. You can club whatever you want. You can put another float in there. You can say 6.7, still valid. Okay. Let's say I run it. So now heights has that. That's the content of heights. Again, let's move on to tuples. So tuples is something that's very useful if you want to work with data that you don't want to change. So there's something called mutability and immutability in Python, right? So 174 is always going to be 174. Okay, 174 is not going to be 175, right? So if you assign a variable, and if you actually check, I'll show you. I hit this. Okay, right. Going too far. Right. So 174, 5, false, right? So 174 is always going to be 174. The operator I used in the middle, if anybody remembers, it's equal to, right? This is how you write a Boolean. We'll get to it later, but this is a statement in Python. Okay. Just keep this in mind, shelve it somewhere. Let's not go there right now, but you'll need it later on. This is how you write a statement. Okay. 174 is equal to 175. No, false. That's what it returns. Okay. The statement is false. That's what it's telling me. Okay. It's a Boolean. The value of this entire thing is false. We'll get to that later. I'm deleting it. You can keep it if you want. This is a tuple. Okay. Right now, I've actually put the coordinates for this. Right. It's lat long for this. If you Google that, get it. You can have a tuple that is bigger. It has more points, right? This is just XY. You can have X, Y, Z. You can have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, whatever you want. So the thing is, here again, a tuple, this is one variable, right? And the position matters. So I have this chord 0 is, if I replace it with 1, I get that, right? Which means first position. Also in Python, everything is 0 indexed, meaning it does not start from 1, it starts from 0. So this is 0, item number 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, everything starts from 0. In R, it will start from 1. Okay, most programming languages, they are 0 indexed. So they start from 0. Items start from 0. Loops start from 0. We'll get to loops after this. Right. Again, I showed you typecasting, right? If you said int and then you put whatever value was there inside or string, and you executed that, you would get a new variable with the type changed, right? So float got converted to either a string or an int, and the way it does its transformation is there in the code. It's there in the function. It's written how it will go about changing that particular thing. So when it changed a float to an int, it got rid of the decimal part, right? So every typecasting sort of has its nuances. You have to look it up and sometimes use it to your benefit. All right. So this currently is a set. Okay. Mathematically, we have sets, right? Exactly similar. Collection of unique objects. Okay. All you have to do is wrap it in these brackets. Okay. List, similarly, do you see the square brackets? If you wrap a collection of objects, items in square brackets, you have a list. If you wrap it in normal brackets, your circle brackets, whatever they are, you have a tuple. If you wrap it in curly braces, you have a set. Okay. Remember this. Even if you don't, mess about, make mistakes, and see what happens. That's the way you learn. Okay. So you have that. Let's say I don't want to do this, right? I want to use a list I had earlier and I want to convert that into a set. Okay. So we have heights, right? All I'm going to do is typecast it. And I want you to see what happens when I typecast it. Okay. So I'm turning it into a set. All right. So no duplicates. See, 172 was twice in the original list. It's not there now. Something from a variable, the unique items, you can do this, and you can use other set operations also. If you know math, again, I want you to go back to your basic 10th level math and see how Venn diagrams work. This is how you would do it. You have a collection of objects, you have to find the intersection, you have to find union, whatever. It will work with sets. Okay, every operation will be done here. uh, how those operations work is very simple. Again, you can Google it. Okay, we look at it again when we move to booleans, right? But for now, keep this in mind. Now let's say, now this is another data type. This is called a dictionary. Okay. Have you all ever seen a JSON file? I'm assuming not. Hold on, I'll show you how a JSON file looks like. Still see my screen, I assume. This is w3schools.com. You can get a lot of good content here. Okay, when it comes to websites, HTML, and front-end development. Right. Okay. So this is how a JSON file looks like. Okay. Basic, very basic. This is a more complicated version. Right. So a JSON file is the way to go if you want to send messages across, information across websites, or to a person, or away from a person, or somebody else. Right? That's how you can again go and see where JSON files are commonly used. It's a very interesting file format to have, and it lets you do this name value pair thing. Okay, so you have your key and you have your value. Key, value. This is not what I was working with. Okay, I was working with the original file, right? Yeah, there you go. So I have a key, I have a value. John 174, Jane 170, Nick Fury 180. You can add other things. Okay, you don't need to have a number as the value. You can have something like this. Right. And you can have another string, whatever the hell you want. Just type it out, and that's your value. Okay. So now let's move on to loops. I know this is boring, but just stay with me for a while, because if you don't know this, you won't be able to use it in whatever you're doing, right? There you go. So this is how you execute a loop in Python. In a lot of languages, it's a bit difficult to execute a loop, right? So the syntax is a bit difficult. So all you have to do in Python is say for. This is a for loop. There are while loops also, but I suggest for this tutorial. Okay, this might happen. Did this happen to any of you? Just reconnect it. Anyway, for I, which is an iterable, in whatever is your iterable. So in this case, it's heights. So it will go through every item in heights by the order it's stored in. Okay, right? So for I in heights, every item in heights, you can call this whatever you want. You can call it gh. You can call it whatever you want. This is an iterable. Doesn't matter what you call it, right? For h in heights, you print h, right? There you go. This is my previous execution of this when I was writing this entire code. So the output is still stored if you check this out. All right. This is how you do a loop. Okay. Now, one more thing you need to understand is conditionals. How to add conditional statements. If else. Now, this is not very complicated. Usually, you will have a lot of if else statements, if else blocks to account for different cases. We are keeping it simple here. For h in heights, if h is greater than 174, it will print it. Now, one more thing you need to understand is indentation. So in Python, indentation matters. If you see, there's a space. Usually it's 4 spaces. That's the way you go. You can also hit tab and move 4 spaces ahead. But now, if you notice, if you talk to any coders, they'll tell you that either they're a tab kind of a guy or the space kind of a guy. So people with people who will, they'll usually fall into 2 categories. Either they'll use space to add this indentation, or they'll use a tab. It depends on you. Okay, whatever you're comfortable with. Okay. So anyway, also Python will add the whatever code editor you're using. Not Python, will automatically do something like this. You hit enter, the indentation gets added, especially for a for block, the moment you initiate it. An if block will, okay, this space does not matter, by the way. Okay, this space does not matter. It's okay if there's a space there. That is not counted as a code or any problem in the code. But the indentation matters, how far it is from the left, from the margin. And with respect to whatever is on top, whatever is the parent. In this case, the parent is the for loop. Okay, the whatever you're executing in the for loop, whatever is getting iterated, right? And this here in this case is a conditional state. What it is doing is, for every time the loop goes over a particular height in heights. In this case, we have added some strings also, so it's going to be weird. Let's see what happens. If the height is greater than 171, it will print. Otherwise, it won't. Right now, see the error that happened because it could not identify. It could not figure out what to do with a height when it wasn't a number. So we came across this string, right? Where was it? Like this, right? So like this is greater than 171. It does not know what to do with it. Okay, that can't be evaluated, and hence the error. Now, every time you have an error, you have the option of searching Stack Overflow. Just click on it and see what happens. Okay, I'm going to click and show you. So it will take you to a Google search result. Click on it, figure it out, because you're going to do this a lot. Trust me. Get used to it. Click on it, go there, open Stack Overflow, search through the answers. This is more important than going through documentation. Look at what people are saying. You additionally have the option of posting your own problems on Stack Overflow, or replying, or commenting, or asking for help. It's an open source community. You need to be able to use it, right? So for this particular thing, I'm going to get rid of the heights part. Okay. Okay, this is called indexing. I told you how everything in Python is sort of zero indexed. If I want to search something, if I want to call something that is refer to something, this is not call, this is a reference. Okay, if I want to refer to something that is uh, from this second item from the end, from the other end, I can write -2, which in our case happens to be a string, which is not getting evaluated. Right, and I additionally have the option of just deleting that part and running the code cell again, but I'm just going with, I don't know, 178. Right, and now we should have, there you go. So there, that executed. Again, if you want to add something different, okay, let's say you want, okay, so the other part, the other side of a if else block, conditional statement, there's an if part, there's an else part, right? So if that condition is not getting evaluated, all other conditions, whatever except that, you need a case to handle that, right? So that is else. So let's say I want to do something else with uh, things that don't get evaluated to h greater than 171, right? I just want to work with that separately. And I know this is not very, all whatever you're doing so far is you don't understand the practical implications right now, but this is a good this is a good way to go about things without actually connecting it to something more complicated. This is a good way to practice things. If you start with something very heavy right now, uh, it'll be it you won't grasp the simple things, the basics. So just stick with this for now. Okay, what I'll do is I'll scale this up so that you can use it in something that you're doing right now. Data you're handling, maybe you've collected, you're using a questionnaire and you have now a bunch of Excel files, and then you want to do something with that. So we'll move on to using whatever you learned here to handle that, right? Conditional statements, loops, everything. You can use a loop to actually collate a lot of Excel files together, automate that. You don't have to copy paste everything, right? So just learn loops now so that you can understand how to use it later in a sort of complicated way. Right now, just do this. So let's say I want to write the height, print out the height, but with something attached, right? So every time the height is not greater than 171, it will attach it to it'll attach a string of centimeters to it, right? So now notice that it says greater than 171. Okay, this is similar to how you use greater in math, right? So 171 itself is not included, everything greater than 171. Okay, so that's why 171 centimeters came out. Okay, again, something similar, what I want you to do is mess around with these conditional statements. What I want you to do is change the way the list is, right? Add something that is meaningful. You can do whatever you want. Maybe you're working currently on something and you need it to be in a stored format. Maybe you have uh, let's say something to sort, right? You can put it on a list, right? And then what lists allow you to do is sort the items inside. I want you to go and check that out. Okay, so this is how you will work with everything new. So sort lists, right? Every time you want to do something new, there's a different module. You don't know where to start. It's always a good way to, I mean, in this case at least, it's good to Google things. Okay, and these are usually you'll find good information in Geeks for Geeks. You'll find you have the option of going through the entire documentation. Real Python is a good site. This is again by Google. This is also a good site to check what's what. Stack Abuse is also good. Okay, you'll find Stack Overflow, Stack Abuse, all these sites are good. Free Code Camp is another good site if you want to see what's what. Okay, so it allows both sorting, ascending and descending order. If it's a string, it'll sort basically it'll do a lexical sort, basically alphabetically. Okay, so I want you to check everything, and we're going to move ahead to see what functions do, right? So in this case, just writing a function. I'll tell you how it works in a minute. So when you define a function in Python, you always start with this. This is def. Okay, then the name of the function. In my case, it's add height. Right? Okay, add height is supposed to take an argument. Okay, whatever goes inside is called an argument. It can have multiple arguments. Okay, it can have keyword arguments also. Again, I want you to Google it and check what keyword arguments are. Okay, you can add them in a number of different ways. So keyword arguments are keywords that you want in your function, but you don't have a specific set of keywords that you're passing. They can be any number of keywords. Okay, so you don't want to be specific about those keywords. You can that's when you add this, something like this, keyword args. Okay, there are another way to add arguments also, which are not keyword arguments, multiple arguments, and you don't want to specify exactly x, y, z, or whatever to n. That is how you do it. You won't be needing it right now, but when you do, if you do, always a good way to Google it, go through the documentation. Okay, I know I'm saying this a lot, but this is the most important skill. You need to know how to search and hunt through the documentation and figure out what's what, because new modules keep coming out and there is no way to keep a track of all of them or memorize all of them. It's just not possible. Don't do it. It's a waste of time. Right. So this is how you return something. A function can be something that operates on that argument, right? But does not spit out does not give you an output. That's also possible. Right? But in our case, we wanted to return something, basically give you an output. There's something called yield also. Again, I want you to see what the difference is between the return and yield. Okay, these are two different things. They serve their purpose, but for our case, we are going to do this. Okay, x plus 5. So every time this function takes a number, it's going to add a 5 to it and return the output. Okay, there can be complicated functions. They can have the loop you used can go inside, so you can use that to evaluate. Okay, if you, let's say you want your function to only work with a specific number items in your list, okay, or maybe a dictionary or whatever you have, you want that function to work on only on specific things, you can change your function to do that. Right now we're keeping it simple. This is what it does. Okay, I ran it twice, no need to do that. Okay, so let's say I put 176, right? And I say add height. Okay, to call a function, this is what you do. Name of the function, brackets, your argument. Okay, this is treated as x, whatever is there. run it. 176 plus 5. You can have other complicated functions also, right? So everybody with me so far? Everything you ran through the whole notebook without any problems? Somebody unmute and tell me.
Yes, sir, it worked for me.
It worked? Okay.
Yeah. I
Okay.
hope some other participants can join in as
If
well.
no, I'm assuming a lot of people have had problems. Just put it up in the chat so I can deal with it. No problem so far? Weird. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen for 2 minutes. Okay, come back to it. Okay, just a second. Okay, so this is Kaggle. Okay, the interface is sort of similar to Colab because again Google owns it, right? All right. This is just a competition I've entered. It's just, I don't know, it's just for practice, let's say. Um, it helps you classify. I mean, the goal is to classify diseases. Look at the image and classify. So you write a neural network code for it. Too complicated. Not we are not going to get into it right now. But what I wanted you to see is what Kaggle has for you all to use. Okay. There you go. So Kaggle has these short exercises, tutorials, whatever you want to call them, right? And they'll sort of do the same thing we did right now, right? They'll introduce you to Python, they'll introduce you to functions, booleans, conditionals, lists, loops, everything, okay? And they'll make you follow along. So there'll be exercises. So this is a good gym to have, okay? This is your code gym, okay? There are complicated versions. You'll have Codekata and other sites that sort of help you brush up or practice your skills. But for if you want to just handle, manipulate data and work with whatever projects you're doing, this is good enough. If you want something more complicated, you want to learn algorithms, data structures and algorithms or something like that, DM me. I'll point you to the right resources. But for our purposes, this is enough. Okay, this is Python basics, and pandas is also there. SQL, you'll have to inevitably deal with this. No way to go around SQL, SQL. So you have to learn SQL. Sorry, I called it SQL. So there are different versions of structured query languages. Okay, there are different kinds. There's Postgres also. If you have worked with the GIS, you will have PostGIS. That sort of has a similar database. I don't know if anybody has worked with GIS here. Intro to GIS, maybe climate change students or anybody from Habitat School will probably have worked with it. So GIS uses that kind of a database. There are different kinds. No need to get into it. Here you'll find other challenges. Okay, other practice exercises will go through everything. So this is a bit complicated right now, right? Natural language processing, intro to game AI, reinforcement learning, everything is free. You go through it, you get a certificate, by the way, free of cost. Okay, see this part. They didn't do that earlier, now they do. What I would suggest is go through this and this both, okay, and then share whatever you are doing. Ultimately, if you want to learn, you need to start on your own project. So again, if your first years right now, I would suggest use Python in your quantitative research methodologies class, whatever you have right now. Maybe you have collected like you have collected data from questionnaires, and it's sitting in an Excel file right now somewhere. I suggest you do something with it. Like instead of using Excel to analyze it, you use Python to analyze it, right? So that is how you learn. You can actually make a web app, but that will be, I mean, a little bit too complicated. But it's always a good way to understand how things work. Okay, so this is also another interesting part I want you to do. This is you're going to do all of this. Okay, I'm not just showing it to you so that you can do it whenever you want. Before the second session, probably do some parts from here. Start with Python. Okay, the interface is similar to Google Colab. Finish this and finish pandas. Two things. Okay, you'll get stuck here. DM me. I'll probably make a Slack channel to deal with everything once this session is over, and I'll teach you how to use Slack. Important skill to have. For people who already know coding and for people who thought this session was very boring, I have something else for you. So again, DM me. I'll get you started on something more complicated, right? And instead of asking you to come to me with projects, I'll be handing you something. I'll give you a data and I'll ask you to do something with it. I'll give you a problem statement. Get back to me throughout the entire week whenever you want, right? And this is what I'm going to do. Everybody here is going to make teams of 4 or 5 people in it, and everybody is going to handle one project. You come to me with the project. If you don't, I'll hand it to you myself, right? And by the end of it, I'll set a deadline of 2 weeks. You solve that problem statement. Even if you don't, let's see where you reach. Okay, that is what you're going to do. Also, alternatively, I think Hitesh is the only guy who tried to put it on his GitHub profile, the notebook he copied. You're also going to understand how to work with GitHub. It's version control. It's very important, and it'll help, and it'll preserve your sanity. So when you do these projects, I'll be walking you through using version control. Very important when you code. Because you make small changes, those small changes screw something up. You want to go back, maybe you want to work on something separately, parallelly. This is where version control comes in, right? And I'm going to introduce you to GitHub. So right now, how do you want me to divide you into teams? Are you going to do it by yourself, or do you want me to assign it randomly? Somebody unmute and tell me, or put it up on the chat. Let's see. Let's take a round of votes. So this is one resource. There are other resources also. I suggest Kaggle because it's easier and you don't have to set anything up. And alternatively, you can also find data here. So if you don't have a data set of your own, you can just go here, search for something you like, Google it here, search, get it, start working on it. Okay. Interesting data sets are also here. See, impact of COVID-19 pandemic on global economy. You'll find all kinds of data sets here. Sci-Hub papers. Okay, this is new. See this. Preferably pick something you know or you've already seen, like a CSV file, right? You know how to work with a CSV file. You open it in Excel. So don't pick something like a JSON file, or pick it and then see what to do with it. Okay. You can pick a JSON file, but then you'll have to go through the entire process of loading, ingesting it by yourself, which is a good project to do, by the way. If by all means, select something difficult to do. You can also post here. Okay. You can just pick a community, ask your questions. Okay. Interact with people here. See this. This is new. Kaggle just recently started all this. Okay. Courses we have already seen. Notebooks again is similar to what you did on Colab. You can add your own. You can also look at other people's notebooks if they are public. For example, this one. I'll just see this. All right. So I can look at whatever she has done, entirety. Okay. Input, output, whatever is there, the entire code. Additionally, I have the option of copying and editing it. Very good if you want to, if you're doing shared projects, or if you want to work with another team altogether, you can just go and fork it. You can just work on a branch of it. You can copy it and edit it, right? Alternatively, if you get good enough, or even if you don't, just enter a competition. Just enter a competition, mess about. There are competitions that have prize money attached to it. Everything from $100,000 to 15,000, and maybe you'll find 5,000, like cheaper also. You win it, you earn that. Okay. Right. Go through it, see what you like. Documentation is also there. There's a blog. You can interact with other users. You can make your own profile. Okay. Additionally, you get a GPU to work with. Currently, I have 30 hours available. Right. So go through this. This is a very interesting site. But for now, I want you to go through the courses. Right. Again, you'll need an internet connection for this. Okay, without an internet connection, this won't work. For people who don't want to spend, don't have a good internet connection, and they just want to one-shot it, the Conda tutorial installation I added, right? You'll find multiple tutorials on YouTube walking you through each and every step. Go through them, and the moment you have everything installed, I'll share notebooks with you. The one I showed you right now on Colab was very I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Yeah. So the one I shared on Colab was very simple, and it was just meant to take you through the basics without making you feel overwhelmed. Just introducing you to what basically is there in Python, all the fundamentals, the data structures, the data types, the variable assignment, what kind of operators there are, how to work with conditional loops. Again, now that you know what's what, I want you to go and mess around with loops, because that is how you'll practice. That is how you'll learn, and use it in something you're doing. That's the best way to go about it. Okay, so groups.
Yeah, so is there any doubts or something? I know there be a lot of
There'll
doubts
be a
that I
lot
have.
of doubts. Keep
Doubts, yeah.
texting. That's okay. You can
Yeah.
text me throughout the entire week.
Yeah,
I'm going to
yes,
make a
yes.
Slack channel. You're going to help each other out also.
Yeah,
Okay,
so we can make a WhatsApp group with
no.
today's participants.
Make a WhatsApp group. I'm also going to make an additional Slack channel. Anybody use Slack? Has anybody used Slack? No.
No. Yeah.
Yes, no, what?
No, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, nope. Okay, nope. Mostly no. Huh? So, it's similar to WhatsApp. Thank you. Like when I ask something, just put it in the chat, because I can't. You are muted, right? I need some kind of response. Right. So what I'm going to do is, in addition to the WhatsApp channel she creates, we are going to use a Slack channel also, Slack group also. So it will kind of introduce you to working with threads and posting and everything, right? The way open source communities are. And here you'll be interacting with everybody you know or is there in this group. So it will kind of get you used to handling multiple threads, following proper etiquette when it comes to open source communities, right? And if you goof up, it's okay, because हमारा ही channel है. So Okay, I'll call it PSF Python workshop or something. I will decide on the name later. And the second thing is, what are you going to do about the groups? Are you going to discuss among yourselves and form your groups? Or should I just randomly pick people and form groups of 3, 4 or whatever?
Maybe once we created the WhatsApp group and then we can do it on what's there or something, like if we can
Okay,
choose it
okay,
here, that's also
okay,
fine.
okay. So moving forward, there'll be two options. Either you come to me with the project or I assign you one, right? And whatever you learned right now, we'll be going into specific modules that your group will require, right? And usually it will come down to 4 or 5 modules. The ones that are used to deal with Excel files, or the ones that are used to automate handling multiple Excel files, right? Or the ones that are used to just read information from the Excel file and then deal with it. You'll have libraries that deal with statistics, regression, and all that, right? So it will come down to these 3, 4 modules. So for me, it will become easier to introduce you to those modules, see what's what, how to implement linear regression, multiple regression, basic statistics, hypothesis testing, maybe pick a hypothesis, teach you actually how to design your hypothesis, how to formulate your statement, problem statement, and go about it, and uh, basically figure out what's what when it comes to your project, right? So yeah, I think that's that for today. But keep texting me, right?
Okay,
I'll
sir.
add more resources.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll create a WhatsApp group, and they can also share the doubts or something in that group also.
Obviously, every.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Also, the groups we can randomly create like 4 people ka group for the projects,
hmm.
and that WhatsApp group itself. I think.
Random is not required. You can just find people you
Yeah.
know
If
from
you
here
know,
and
yeah.
form groups with them. Okay.
If people are not aware of like anybody, they don't know anyone in this group, then that
Yeah.
would be a problem. Yeah, so that
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I think we can move forward with that. Is
Okay.
that okay?
Okay.
Any
So
comments or opinion from the participants, like
yeah, sure.
to
Please do that. And the second session is going to be heavier, so please go through whatever I did right now and probably get the installation to work. If not, text me with the screenshots of the problems you're having, right?
anything? People, please respond.
Okay. Anybody else? You can put whatever you want. Not enough information, too
Yeah,
short a session.
feedbacks
Anything
will
is
help
fine. You
to
put it.
improve in the next sessions.
Okay.
Too much to process to
Too
begin
much
with.
to process. I tried to keep everything as short and as basic as possible. Okay. So, okay. Too much to process, right? So,
No, the
everything,
thing is
whatever I
actually,
did,
I have
huh?
lost connect. I have lost connect with the coding and all. I have
Okay.
studied C, C++ earlier.
Oh,
So
so
that
frankly, if you study C++, Python should be very easy for you, or at least getting back will be easy for you. Maybe the glitches today aside, whatever problems you had, don't worry about it. If you handle C++, Python is a piece of cake.
okay, okay.
So whatever problems you're having, just text me again. We'll see what's what and try to break down things for you. Right? Very new to program. Yeah, practice is what helps. And make mistakes. Make a lot of mistakes and Google it. Okay, Stack Overflow, Stack Abuse, you'll get the answers there. And if you don't get the answers there, make a new thread, post your question. Okay, open source community. Nobody should feel like they are out of their depth. Okay, everybody starts off from here. You should be free about it. You should accept. You should expect people to give you help. Open source community, right? So don't hesitate to make mistakes. That's how you learn. Try to do something, see what works, see what breaks, and go ahead from there. Anything
Okay.
else? And break your code. See why
Yeah.
it broke. Make mistakes.
Okay, thank you so much, sir, for this. You were very much patient. There was a lot of patience from your side, and thank you so much for this
Yeah.
patientful time. And we'll have a second session on 2nd January next
Okay.
Saturday, at the same time, 11 a.m.
Okay.
Saturday. If there are any change, we'll inform you through the WhatsApp group or the mail that we were
Okay.
communicating.
So
Yeah.
for people who thought this session was heavier and could not work with the installation and all, you DM me separately. You DM me. You don't go through the WhatsApp channel, WhatsApp group. You DM me. We'll deal with all those problems. If there are too many of you, or if there are common problems, I'll just post it in the group. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
That's
Fine.
that's.
Okay. Okay, if there is no other comments or doubts, let's close today's session and we'll.
Contact details. You can email me, or you can uh, WhatsApp me. Connectivity is bad here, so if you are calling, it will be a problem. Just WhatsApp me. I have good Wi-Fi. That's the WhatsApp number, right? Uh, yeah, email, WhatsApp. That's it. Anything else? Shall we call it a day?
Yeah, I guess we can.
So, bye
Okay,
guys. Good day.
see. Yeah, see you on next Saturday. Yeah.
Yeah. And please go through whatever I said. The resources, I want you to go and practice. It's there for you to practice. You practice, you'll feel like it's easier. Okay.